Hey friends, Professor Pandemic here with two-digit division today. So our goal is to try to divide two-digit divisors. Now, basic facts really helps you out with one digit. But with two-digit, you're going to have to do a lot more estimating and guess and checking. So if you notice here, we have 24. And we're trying to get it into 9 tens. There's no way we can get one group of 24 out of 9. So the first step here is putting a 0. If you forget to put that 0, you're going to get really confused and you might end up dividing or bringing down other things that you've already used. So always put that 0 there. Now, since we can't go into 9, now we look at the whole number, 98. There's no 24th basic fact that I know off the top of my head that gets me close to 98. So what I do is I estimate 24. So I look at 24 and I see there's a 4 in the ones place, so I'm going to round it down. And I'm going to use 20 here because 20 is a nicer number to use than 24. I then am going to count, kind of looking at my 9 tens here. And I'm going to see how many groups of 20 I can get out of 9 tens. So 20, 40, 60, 80. If I go to 5, that's 100, and 100 is bigger than 98. So that tells me I probably need a 4 here because 4 times 2 is 8, and that's close to 9. Now, this might not necessarily work because now I have to take the 4 and multiply it by 24. Sometimes when you estimate, it may work out perfectly. Other times, it may be too small or too big when you subtract. It gives you information so that hopefully the next number you pick, you know what number to choose. But you're going to have some times where maybe you pick a number and it doesn't work. So that's why the better your estimate is the first time, hopefully the less steps you have. So let's see, 4 times 4 is 16. 2 times 4 is 4, plus 1 is 9. And that worked out perfectly because when I subtract, I only have 2. There's nothing else to bring down. 2 is way smaller than 24, and I have a remainder of 2. You check this the same way you would check a one-digit division problem. So you take your divisor, 24, and you multiply it by 4, your quotient. 4 times 4 is 16. 2 times 4 is 2, or 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. Add your remainder. 96 plus 2 is 98. And again, everything worked out. So your answer is 4, remainder 2. We'll do one more example of this, and then we're going to do some 3x2 questions. Our next problem to look at together, friends, is 83 divided by 15. So we still look at this 15, and we still go to this first number, the 8 tens. We can't make any group of 15 out of 8, so again, our 0 goes here. Now, we have to think of groups of 15 out of 83. So I'm going to make this maybe 20. Because 15 rounds higher to 20. And if I count by 2 and by 4, my estimation, 2, 4, 6, 8, that's going to give me 4 here again. So based off of that, let's see how this works. 4 times 5 is 20, 60, and when I subtract, I end up with 23 this time. And if you notice, 23 is bigger than 15. So in this time, my estimate didn't work. I have more than I need, which means I have to start and pick a different number. But what this tells me, it gives me information. I look at this 23, it's really close to 15. So I'm going to say, I'm just going to go one number higher. So instead of 4, I'm going to choose 5 this time. And same thing, and I like doing my work over here because when we get these bigger numbers, it's not that exciting to do it in my head. And it might be nice to come over here and do the work so it doesn't mess up your problem. 5 times 5 is 25. Carry the 2. 5 times 1 is 2 plus, or 5 times 1 is 5 plus 2 is 7. 75. And when we subtract here, this time, we get an 8. And 8 is smaller than 15. So even though we didn't get it right that first time, it gave us enough information to know what number to pick the second time, which is really important. Using the information that we learn, even through our mistakes, helps us get the right answer. So our answer here is 5 remainder 8. We go and check our work. 15 times 5 is going to give us 75. We add 8, and that gets us an answer of 83. So, mathematicians, that is 2 by 2 division. In your classrooms now, your teacher may choose to do a couple 2 by 2 division questions just to practice and get that format down. And when your group is ready, we're going to move on to 3 by 2 digit division. We'll see you on the other side. Mathematicians, we've upped the ante. We now have a 3 by 2 digit problem. 329 divided by 37. And look what happens now sometimes. Let's look at that first number, 37 divided by 3. Obviously, that's not going to work because we can't get any groups of 7 or 37 out of 3. We go to the second number. We can't get any groups of 37 out of 32, which means we have another 0, which means we have to go all the way to the 9 here. 329 times 37. And when I see something like that, that makes me think I'm going to need a really big number. If you're starting here with multiplying by 2, there is no way that's going to work. So I'm just going to say, I'm going to start with 8, because 8's pretty big, and it'll give me some information. Let's do 37 times 8. That gets us 56. 24 plus 5 is 29. It looks like it could be close, so let's go over and subtract. Now, if you multiplied and you had 134, you already know that's not going to be anywhere close, so you know you have to pick a bigger number. But if you look at one that gets close, try it out. 9 minus 6 is 3. Oh, and look at that, friends. It came out to 33, so that means I know I can put my 8 there, which should already be there ahead of time, by the way. Mr. Pandemic skipped a step. And notice your remainders get bigger as the numbers get bigger sometimes. So we have 8 remainder 33 here. So let's go check our work. We have 37 times 8. Remember, we take our divisor and multiply by our quotient. 56, 24, 29, and we add 33. That gets us 329. So, notice sometimes, friends, you might have to go all the way to this last number depending on how you're dividing. For our next example, we're going to show you something a little different. So stay tuned to that. So, friends, this time we have 437 divided by 40. This time, we still can't make any groups of 40 out of 4. But this time, we can make a group of 40 out of 43. So this is nice if you can get your divisor to go into the second number, because that means we're going to have a smaller number to start with. And hopefully you can see only one group of 40 to go into 43, because those numbers are really close together. So I'm going to multiply 40 times 1. That gets us 40. 43 minus 40 is 3. Way smaller than 40. Bring down the 7. And now we redo. But notice here, 40, 37. 37 is smaller than 40. So we can't make any groups of that. So what I see a lot of people do is they just come over here and they write the remainder 37. And this is why putting the zeros in is so important, friends. Because this answer really is saying you have a quotient of 1 remainder 37. But notice, you forgot to put a number here. Every number has to have a digit underneath it. What number did you forget? A 0. Because 40 cannot go into 37. You have to put that 0 there. And watch what happens when you check your work for this. Let's say you did write 1 for your answer. 40 times 1 is 40 plus 37. That's going to give you 77. And you're going to be super confused because you did all the work right and your work isn't checking out. But if you multiply your quotient with the 10, 40 times 10, that gives you 400. And then when you add the 37, it then gets you 437. So, friends, this was 2-digit division, 3 by 2, and 2 by 2. Your teacher is probably going to want to do some more examples with you. Next week, we're going to move on to 4 by 2. which means we'll have 4 numbers in here. Spoiler, it stays exactly the same, only there's more steps. And that's really what you notice with multiplication and division by the time you get to 5th grade. The process always stays the same. There's just more steps. So it's really important that you write your work neatly, keep everything lined up, and take your time. The first person done might not necessarily be the first person correct. So, I'm Professor Pandemic. Thank you for joining us for this lesson, and enjoy your division. Have a good day, friends.